All right. Well, hello. We're back again. We have Jenny with us. Welcome back, Jenny.
Hey, guys.
Let's see what it gives us here. I was trying to get them mixed up really well because I seem to be choosing the same. If I choose the same one I've been choosing after all this mixing, I'm good.
Is it the same deck?
Yeah, it's the same deck. No, it's different.
Stand still.
It's a different one.
What's the number on it? 82? 52?
52.
52. That's kind of what I've been doing all week.
Standing still.
Yeah, but enjoyably. So, I mean, it's been a great, just not a lot of doing much of anything, but hanging out with myself, self-study.
Yeah, that's interesting. You can see the moon up there on top, it looks like too, which we're going to come into a full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fall lighting in the evenings too there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Our skies kind of look like that now with all the colors we have. So, okay. So we'll see how that plays into our conversation today. Excellent. You ready to get started?
Yeah. Yeah, this list was difficult to get. I'm the bottleneck in this. When I work with my counsel, I know that, and I even say it. This time, I told her a while ago, I don't know, been a couple of weeks, that my orientation to the council since the beginning has been from kind of in parallel with the tables, the round tables, but I'm seeing it from the side because there is no front or back or whatnot. So that's the way it had been. And a couple of weeks ago, my orientation changed to where now I'm above it looking down to it. So I see the inner round table and then I see the outer round table. So it's a circle within a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I was in that orientation and I flew through my council. I flew through the circles.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what that means, but it disoriented me. So it was hard to get this list.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see the theme to it, which started before, but this time it was all about it.
Mm-hmm. What came up was Magenta Pixie talking about going through the eye of the. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
The first one is the between state, a bubble of your time, part dream time, part waking time, a place to play with dragons, place to play with your dragons. And remember the symbology behind dragons. Yeah, and also keep in mind that I don't know what most people think about dragons, but in the movies they've always made them appear evil, and that was done on purpose. And dragons are not evil; they're just like us. They can be good, they can be bad, they can be neutral. So,
well, I've always had like the Puff the Magic Dragon. I've always thought of dragons as being my friend. You know, that I grew up with feeling that like very much like they were just misunderstood friends.
And that's
more so than
that's the way they are mainly, because if they're neutral and negative, they have bigger fish to fry. But if they're your friend, they understand how the capabilities that we have. They understand it better than we can.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be able to come through what we're doing right now in their form and do what we're doing in the 3D because their magic is too powerful. They wouldn't buy into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're here, is to basically shake this whole 3D, 4D scenario from top to bottom. From
Help us waken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Help us wake up.
So, but the between state for us is very important. It's where you can take time out and explore. How you do that is up to you, and but it's also where you can clear things quickly instead of, and that which will then help you in the waking moments.
Yeah.
So I just got a strong emphasis on that one to start out because I got that one first and then I didn't get the rest for, it was an hour later before I got the second one.
Well, I could tell in the mornings, the last week, every morning when I wake up, there's like somebody saying a statement to me about something, like relax and let things surface. I mean, it's like these, I've written some of them down. Some of them I lost, and forgot to write down, and then it's like disappeared. But it's interesting because that's what kind of comes to me in the in-between state. It's like very clearly there's stuff coming through right now. Yeah.
So
I agree with you.
For some people, there'll be much more of that. It'll really start growing. Even for some people, I believe that they'll be able to have those in-between moments while they're awake. Like they go into meditative state, or maybe just sitting quietly somewhere, reading or whatnot, they might be able to go into that between state.
Yeah. Well, I did drive.
I've been doing that a lot. I mean, I have my meditation practice, but then like during the day where I'll lay down, but not fall asleep, just kind of go into a tranced out where I'm traveling and I can visualize myself traveling in, with my eyes closed, but I'm not asleep and I'm not meditating. I'm doing some kind of work and traveling, but I'm not totally clear on exactly what I'm doing all the time, but I've been doing that lately, like this week, a lot. And it's enjoyable.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's more real than what we have here. So,
Yeah.
All right. This stuff is, she said when I came out right before from here, she said I seemed my energy was different. This was very serious. Now, it doesn't mean we need to be serious all the time. But I got the feeling, the energy that hit me was, we're coming into a serious time. It's going to be hard to find moments of levity and relaxation. But you still have to do it because that's what's going to help get us through this. But this, I got the feeling that it's here now. It's happening. So the next one is a time of dragons. They're here to spit fire and drag truth into the light. Dragons manipulate time for their purpose. So there's going to be a lot of things that people are not going to be able to wrap their head around because logic will not explain it. And this is dragon energy. It's from the fantasy world, but it's going to be dragging things that have been in the dark for a long, long time.
Well, I feel like I was reading an astrology report about Sunday's energy into Monday with the moon. And it was right along that same line of those things that were hidden, those things that were suppressed would surface, and it's not going to be necessarily comfortable. It's going to show lies, and it's going to show manipulations, and it's going to show those things, but it needs to be shown so that you can clear it and get past it. But it can happen personally, or it can happen collectively.
Yeah. I got this is going to shake the foundations across the world. I saw people losing it, just losing it on camera, just losing their minds, losing their lunch, just losing it. And it felt like this was happening like tomorrow. I don't know when, but it was so close and so on top of me that it shocked me. It was, I'm still trying to recover. It doesn't matter how far along you are on your path and to enlightenment and all that, this is going to shock everyone. I don't care who you are. What I saw shocked me to the core. Some of the images that were playing on TV, I could not believe. I don't know. It was like evil was coming out of the TV. So, forgive me for being off center, but this stuff was.
Sounds horrifying.
Yeah. That's the feeling. I was horrified.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I thought I was ready. I thought I heard about all this stuff that had been going on and everything, but seeing it, and I was empathetically
feeling
in it.
Yeah.
I could feel the victims. I could feel, it was just.
I can start to feel the panicking feeling in the chest right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And the solar plexus just tightened up.
Yeah. So this isn't going to hit just one area of our society. It's going to hit everything. So I'll go through this. We'll probably need to summarize when we get at the end, because I think each one of these are like a certain target, or we'll see how it goes. But this is going to be 360 degrees. The next one is dragons' lust for gold. They will go after anything that hurts gold. Expect major rumblings in the financial sector. Major. You will not be able to get to your money for a short period of time. And this again felt like it was right on top of me. Like if I was hard, look at.
Yeah. Get chills.
I got chills all up and down my body. This feels like it's happening like this week.
So for people who are fear-based, though, but people who can manifest, that shouldn't affect them at all. Like people who keep their self in a good headspace and aren't operated by fear won't have a problem. It's just the non-awakened, I guess, masses that are going to have a huge, huge problem.
Yeah, what we'll have, what I'm getting is the empathetically, the energy that's, and I believe at least part of my role here has been to help process some of that energy for the collective. And so it's going to be impacted, but not from a fear base, but just it's going to take a lot of energy on our part to stay centered and to allow us to, remain in that space while we're also getting rattled, because there'll be, like you're saying, I can feel there's going to be things that we don't know. We are, so it's going to rattle us, but then we also have that responsibility or that role that we've taken on ourselves and agreed to when we came here to anchor the light. And so being able to hold that light is going to be going to take intention and focus and
Yeah, I'm not a fear monger. I never have been. You can vouch for me on this. I'm calling it the way I saw it and felt it. I think you're right. The people that are already in fear, they're already in fear.
Right.
The people that are not in fear, they're not going to be in fear.
Right.
So I'm not trying to rile anybody up.
Mm-mm.
I'm basically stating what I saw. I feel compelled to share this. If I had to give any recommendations, the only thing I would say is just check your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure that you
Mm-hmm.
don't leave yourself shorthanded in any particular area, especially when it comes to the necessities.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the feeling that with the following items I have, you'll understand a little bit more. But I have a feeling that let's target just the financial sector. This is going to hit banks or whatever, and it's not going to be a long duration thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a short duration thing. The whole thing, the image I got is, this is the system that we've had in place for thousands of years financially. Okay, it's been roughly the same. It's been the same powers behind it. This is going here. Meanwhile, people or beings that have our best wishes, and it behooves them to help us, not save us, but to help us, have been working on an alternate, and they have been working it and fine-tuning it. And I get the feeling that in order to cut over to it, this has to be brought down and this has to be brought up, but not right on top of it. Otherwise, it'll be contagious. Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling it's bring this down, and then a short period of time, then this system starts.
It reminds me of whenever we would have to reset a computer, reset something, and they'd say, leave it off for 10 seconds before you turn it back on. You know, it's just like that, only it won't be 10 seconds. But that kind of gap is the way I feel that gap is needed to let it completely disconnect so that the next one coming on doesn't have any residual.
Right, because capacitors keep an electric charge for a period of time. Mm-hmm. So any memory that is attached to capacitors could stay functioning even after the computer turns off. So it's very similar to that. Yeah. We feel pretty good when it comes to the necessities. Mm-hmm. We're pretty, we don't. It's not like we keep huge amounts of cash or anything like that, but we have cash, and that's the feeling I get is things aren't going to stop working. Life will continue, mm-hmm. but during this period of time, certain kind of transactions will not work. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, just be prepared to exchange in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying go out and stock on all this stuff. Yeah. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying at a minimum, just have extra cash on hand. That's it. Mm-hmm. I think businesses will be still accepting cash.
Mm-hmm. I think I've got my plans already just coming into play naturally. Now that I'm thinking about this, it's just all kind of happening the way it's supposed to happen. I'm going to have plenty of goods and services to trade and barter with.
Yeah. Now when I say this is not going to be a long time, I mean, it's going to be it's not going to be more than a month, but I don't think it's going to be a month.
Well, think about it's interesting because think about what the communication is usually like. I know last year or so there was promotion in Europe and Germany and stuff like that, promoting to have people be able to go 3 weeks, have food and, and sustenance for 3 weeks. And it's interesting that was, it's been communicated different times, if you want to be prepared for a tragedy or a natural disaster to make sure that you can sustain for 3 weeks. So I don't know if it'll be 3 weeks.
That's a good mindset for me, that's the kind of mindset I'm going to have is a storm is coming and it's going to be, let's say it's a monster snowstorm and they're expecting it to drop 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
And you might not be able to get out for weeks because they're not even going to be able to get to any of the side streets for weeks. That's the mentality, not the, oh, woe is me, the sky is falling kind.
The world's coming to an end.
It's I'm going to make sure that I have, enough food on hand. Even if it's not the tastiest of food, that can get me by for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
and something that I would eat. Something that I would eat normally, I'm just going to make sure that I have it on hand, so it won't go to waste. I'm not buying, a month's worth of this stuff and it's going to be packed away and end up going bad. This is stuff I would have been eating anyway.
Yeah.
So, if somebody wants to be all in fear about it, then that's up to them to clear it. I mean, that's what we're coming into right now is the dragons are going to bring out all the dark places with their fire. They're going to bring it out for everyone to see, for you to see yours, for people to see theirs, and maybe for other people to see other people's, what their dark places are. But it's also is going to permeate throughout our whole society. Now, I don't know how long this whole period goes on. The financial piece, again, I don't think it's going to be a long period of time. And it's going to have, reverberations for quite a while because as people have to adjust to it. So, but this is the time, when I say a time of dragons, I mean, this is going to go on for years. Not the financial piece, but
the transition,
the whole transition and people clearing out their darkest places.
The detoxification process.
Yeah, think of it. This is basically society's detox. Is the feeling I get. So keep that in mind. The next one is Tail Whip of the Dragon. Will crack the foundation of false power, whose members are under attack and have no real power against dragons. So we already know some people who are currently, let's just say, under scrutiny, even though the media keeps protecting them. Well, that was just the dipping your finger in it.
That was
to see how people would react, and now comes the avalanche. So these are going to be people, not just politicians, but the politicians are going to be the most obvious, but it's going to include people you never even thought would do some of the things you're going to hear about what they've done. So I'm talking just, like I said, there's not going to be a place in our society that isn't touched. So think about police, hospitals, clergy, so churches, any kind of community organization. Charities especially. Charity, oh my gosh. The things that charities have been involved with behind the scenes. You thought your money was going to good things when you gave money to charity? Well, 9 times out of 10, it wasn't going where you thought it was. So, again, not fear-mongering. I'm just saying this has to happen. This is a cleanse. But this is, to some extent, going to play out in public. Not the whole thing, but enough to shake the foundation.
I think it has to.
It has to, because otherwise we won't accept the new if we don't know that the old, what it was and what it did and how it held us in place.
Yeah.
we have to see it crumble.
Well, and to the point that we don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
We don't want to allow any part of that to resurface its ugly head, in the future. So.
Yeah.
And we'll hold each other accountable to that.
Stay in your. I started this out, the between state.
Mm-hmm.
Find that between state, and when you feel off kilter, that card is very appropriate.
Yeah.
That card is very appropriate. Find that that between state, that bubble of your time that you can go to, and know that this is temporary only. This too shall pass.
Yeah, because I look at it and I see stand still, and it's like in the chaos of stuff going on, don't get caught up in it and get into the chaos. Stand still, sit still, whatever. Just
I can almost guarantee if you're watching this, and it doesn't. I mean,
you haven't already turned it off.
Our previous videos didn't turn you away. Then you're probably a starseed. You're probably here for a mission that you're starting to really get your, fingers into and start to feel. That's going to start coming on really strong, because no matter how bad you feel when these things start to hit, the masses are feeling it worse. We've had time to adjust to this. They will have had no time at all.
Well, and part of it to me too is that feeling of we'll be in the flow. I mean, if we can stay centered, things will be clear to us, and we'll have kind of that, not a bubble where we won't be, like in the world doing this, but we'll have that kind of energy around us that's peace that's unexplainable.
Well, that is the deal. The bigger your aura is, the less that can get to you. So if you just continue to work on your aura and keep it big, then nothing can affect you. That's the idea behind it.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to behoove us to gather those around us who energize us, and not those, even if they're family. Sorry, but if they bring you down, this is not going to be the time to let them bring you down.
Yeah.
Right.
This is going to be time to gather the energies that lift you up, because as this develops, family members, friends, colleagues, whatever, they'll be coming and asking for some kind of support or, help, some kind of help. And it'll behoove you to have your energy up here to know how best to help them. Sometimes they come and ask for money or whatever. And sometimes that's the worst kind of help. It's like, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll get, if you want a meal or a place to stay or something like that, I'll do that for you. But I'm not saying which one's right or wrong. Right. I'm saying know how to truly help them. Not this.
Have your discernment on point so that you know exactly what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
What to say, not to say, and be able to tap into that flow of wisdom from your high self. And if we don't have ourselves clear and energized, we're not going to have that flow of information from the high self about what to do, not to do, what's best for that situation, and really getting that true read of what's happening, not just what the person's saying, because we're going to have to be discerning the truth from the, manipulation and stuff too. So,
right.
But I do believe you're right. I do believe those who are on a mission and know about it, if they can find their between state, their bubble of time, and go there, things will start coming to them to help them through this and to show them the way. And they'll just know. They'll just know what to do.
Yeah.
They'll put their head down and just go get it done. Whatever it is they get called on. It's the ones that engage this and get in the way of their heart. Those are the ones that are going to have the most trouble.
Yeah, because when I sit here and feel this, there's a few I mean, there's lots of things flowing through me, but part of it is almost like it's game time kind of feeling of,
That's
we've been preparing for this and clearing and cleaning ourselves up and anchoring the light here on the planet. And it's like, it's almost not to say exciting, but it's game time. It's like, here, all the cards are going to be on the table and it's time to play the game and play your role and bring your training in. And I think that it's not going to be here. It's all going to be here. If it's the minute you go to here, it's going to wear you out.
Yeah. Not only is it game time, but it's World Cup soccer, the World Cup final. It's the NBA Game 7, World Series Game 7. It's all that rolled into one.
Yeah.
It's the game of games. It's the it's all on the line. So best let your brightest light shine, kind of thing.
Yep. Focus.
No more excuses, because I did see this. No one's going to care about excuses. No one, because they're going to have their own crap going on. They don't want to hear excuses. So, and if you've got excuses for yourself, then you've got to deal with that.
Yeah.
So you either do something or you don't. And if you do it, then have the mindset to do it. Because if you don't, you might as well not do it. Kind of thing. That's kind of what I'm working on for me.
Yeah, me too.
So the next one is Dragon's Lair. New power structure being carved out from which its impacts will be felt. So the impression I got was that the power structure that has been in place for thousands of years, that we're not really familiar with. We think they're we think these are governments and whatnot. They've been wheeling and dealing with each other behind the scenes. So this whole thing about what's going on with Ukraine, that's just a crack into it. There's a power above all of those where we think our politicians are here and just citizens of the United States and whatnot. Guess what? A lot of the congressional members are dual citizens.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Lots of them are. Now, how can that be? I'm just, that doesn't, I don't know. To me, it's kind of like they're broadcasting it right there in your face. So things are going to start coming out about where these people really have been doing their business.
Where their allegiances lie.
Yeah. So, but a new power structure is actually being carved out. That is going to be, it's going to be human run for this planet. It's going to be human run, but it's going to be tapped into a higher power. This is going to be, think oracles and sages and white magicians, white sorcerers, white witches.
Shaman.
And when I say white, I'm not talking about race or anything.
I know what you mean. I immediately thought energy. So.
Yes.
I'm talking about these are high. When you're around them, there will be no doubt you're around someone who has a very, very high frequency.
Very pure.
It's going to be crystal clear. These people are going to exude empathetic energy, caring but not over caring, in the moment. You wouldn't even think of telling them a lie. because they would see through it before you got the words to come into your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These beings are here. They're here. They are, let's just call them ancient humans. They have incarnated here as many times or more times than anyone else, and yet they have retained much of their memory.
It's funny because whenever I was shuffling the cards and I said, if I pull out the same card I've been pulling out several days this week, Ancient Ones is the card I keep pulling out every time I pick up that deck practically. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. So through all this darkness, no, you can't have dark without light. You can't have light without dark. So we're not going to have all this chaos and things going on and not have a way out, not have something to look forward to, something to keep you moving forward. It's already, this was all planned, and it is coming to fruition. It is here. It's a matter of allowing. You don't need to go look for it. You need to allow it into you. It's out there looking for all of us, and it's a matter of the decisions you make.
Well, and that's going to be the challenge, right? So in order to do that, it's going to require an open heart, which an open heart feels very vulnerable. And when things are breaking loose, normally we do what? Close up. But in order to have that light to come through, you've got to hold that open. I can just feel the emotion of it. But you've got to be able to hold your heart open and let that light come in.
That is why Starseeds have started out where we've just been talking to each other.
Yeah.
Because no one else wanted to hear us. So we're talking to each other. This is how we ramped each other up and shared what we've been getting with each other, and hopefully. How can you imagine something you've never seen or felt before? Right. But if someone tells you about it, it cracks the door open. That's what we're doing so that we're not overwhelmed the first time we are exposed to it. We've had someone at least draw us a picture. And that's what's going on here. That's what we've each been doing. We didn't start out we weren't the first ones doing this kind of stuff. There were others, they didn't even know. Magenta Pixie's a good one. I remember hearing her early stuff and going, what is she saying? But the more I just tried not to logic my way through it, it was more going back to when I was a kid and watching cartoons and, oh yeah, that can happen. Yeah, that can happen. Just let it permeate. Just allow it in. Don't reach for it. Let it come to you. Let it permeate and just kind of succumb to it and let yourself feel into it. You can always kick it out if you don't want it.
And learning to set that critical mind to the side is huge. It takes practice, but once you can do that, it's like everything is unlocked. So nice.
Yeah, it takes practice and it takes trust, and that's where working with the ego and through the ego issues, because the minute that the ego feels like it's you might not survive, the minute you lock into that, you kind of your doors close, and for us to allow this to flow through and surface and flow through, we've got to have our doors open. If we have our doors closed, it's going to be lots and it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah, this is the caterpillar who's gone into the cocoon, and it's that first transformation. I can imagine
what it feels
what that feels like.
The first molting or whatever it is. Yeah.
Where it's still a caterpillar, but now it's starting to crystallize and take the first step towards being a butterfly.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go through that first act of transformation. And I can imagine the caterpillar probably saying, "What the hell is going on?" So
I'm falling apart.
So
Yeah. Like, wait a minute.
you're not falling apart.
No, but that's what the caterpillar might feel.
Yeah.
I would say this is the beginning of why you're here.
Yes.
Your mission, your true, real mission is in response to what is now getting ready to happen. Now, there's been a lot of stuff in the making of this, but what we're getting ready to see is the beginning of the new phase where we're going to start seeing, oh, that's what I'm here for, to help with that, to gather some strength for people that are dealing with that. It's starting to once you start thinking beyond just you, like what do you need to survive, and you start putting your heart out there about using your empathy towards others and whatnot, you can start start turning into the butterfly.
And that's where the energy comes from for us as we go through this, because when you feel that, you know how it is when you feel like it's something you're called to do, it just gives you this boost of energy and life. So that's where our energy is going to be replenished, and it won't overwhelm us as long as we stay awake and take those times for ourselves to stand still.
Yeah. Just know that your answers aren't out there. They're inside you. No matter what's going on out there, it's a reflection of what's going on inside you. And the reason why all this is getting ready to happen or is happening is because that's what's happening in all of us. The energy waves coming in are cracking us open from the inside and making us see how we could be turned into slaves, how we allowed this to happen. All those people that have been playing these evil roles, yes, they need to answer for it. That's part of the whole karmic process.
I guess they do. I mean, I don't care if they do or not. I don't care.
I agree with you. That is the stance to have, whereby you don't need it. You personally don't need it. But the foundation of our society, it needs it. It needs to know if you do X, Y will happen. Because without the cause and effect, we can't bounce up out of the cause and effect thing. We are still in cause and effect, but we're trying to rise above it. And that's what I believe the starseeds are here for. So we, as starseeds, need to send out that energy of forgiveness. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, it doesn't matter how evil it was, because evil is only a perspective here in 3D. Just know that.
Yeah.
It has been set up that way for us to learn. So forgiving is not for them. It's for you.
Right.
It's to free you and allow you to claim a higher frequency.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. The next one, Dragon's Breath Health Reformation. They will bring mystical powers of health and begin dispensing it from the sky. This has already been in the works. There have been some people out there talking about the med beds and whatnot. Those are all forms of it. The issue is how to present to people who are fearful. So you can imagine the first people that are presented to are not going to be the fearful people.
Right.
They're going to be people who are at least inquisitive and won't be, oh, look, you're a god. Thank you for saving us. You're a savior. No, these are beings that we are them, they are us. They just are on a different timeline, and they're realizing that we're rising. We're in the process of rising to be closer to their timeline.
Mm.
We affect them like they affect us. We can't know it all right now in the paradigm we're in. We will one day realize, but the people that are closer to sovereignty, true sovereignty, they don't have to be completely, none of us are completely there. There's no one
Right.
here that is completely there. But those who will not be intimidated, that will at least have an open heart towards these people, those are the ones that will get started. They will then help others bring that light. But this is going to get us out of begin to get us out of the death spiral, the health death spiral.
Yeah. Sorry.
Not to do with our, dying and reincarnating or anything like that, just to get us out of, because we have been constantly in a death spiral. As soon as you're born into the system, you're in a death spiral, because they profit from you being in that death spiral, because you're constantly willing to pay money to get a little bit out of the death spiral, which they never let you get out of.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, our cells are constantly regenerating. So, I mean, there's no reason for us to be in the death spiral like we are, because we have brand new cells always. So there has to be some programming there. So I can totally.
It's like my dad had a heart attack in May, and he has to take this medication that makes him feel terrible. He forgot to take the medication. He felt amazing. So he's like, they tell me I have to take it for like a year, and I'm foggy headed, but he's like, when I didn't take it, I felt amazing. So he's, his body's conflicting what the doctors are telling him. And of course he's going to take the medication because he's so scared not to take the medication,
That's exactly how the system has preyed on us. They deal in fear that if you don't do this, you're going to die. If you don't do this, you're going to lose your house. If you don't do this, you're going to get arrested and your kids will go into foster care.
Oh, I know. I remember when I was younger, and my first daughter, I was 20, and I'd see an article in the news about a child going missing or a child dying, and I was terrified that was going to happen to me constantly. Like everything, it was just seeds being planted of fear all the time. Yep.
Yeah, and you limited yourself or her,
right?
Whatever, because you were protecting,
Yes. Yeah. Trying to make it all comfortable.
Well, the impression I got is that the star seeds, those who are the most open and willing and capable, because you got to be able to go to bed that night and wake up the next day and not be adversely affected.
Yeah. You got to be able to let it go.
Think about that.
Yeah.
All right. It's not something you volunteer for. You are either in that frequency or you're not.
Yeah.
So there is no volunteering or putting your name on on a list or whatnot. It's either going to happen. But those early ones will be able to not just get their full health back, but they will be able to see the process and ask any questions and basically become trainers for helping bring other people in. They will be the diplomats. They will be the mediators to help bridge the gap between these beings and the rest of us, so that we won't be so fearful and allow them, and then also not be so in awe that we can't be. They want us to be peers with them. That's because that's what we are, even though we don't recognize. It's like they recognize. We've all known or heard stories about proteges. A protege, piano player or whatnot that at 4 years old was playing Mozart and Bach and all this. Well, they know that we're a planet full of proteges. They know. We don't know it, but they know it. So when they see us bow down to them, it makes them cringe. It's like, oh no, please don't do that, please.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know we're limiting what our gifts are.
Just because we can't see it yet doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
They can see it. They know it. And so what they're trying to do is kind of bridge that gap. And they want to come in mass to us, but they know that can't happen. So they're going to reach out to those who can maintain themselves in their presence.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what we all should be striving for. Imagine someone that everyone thinks of as a god is actually comes and speaks to you. How would you act? If you start to, imagine, I don't know, like, I was trying to think of some figure today that was that would inspire all, but there isn't really. So I was thinking of way back. I mean, imagine like Caesar or somebody that
or Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa was coming to you, and you knew Mother Teresa wanted to speak to you.
Yeah.
Would
Yogananda, somebody?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you be so intimidated that you wouldn't be able to hold an intelligent conversation with her and be able to actually ask her intelligent questions and be in the moment with her?
Yeah.
This is what we should all strive for.
I know I could now, but not at some point though. I would have been like fangirling all over the place.
Yeah. So that's your sovereignty you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you can tell someone you're this far along, but your actions will really delegate or tell the story. It will uncover where you really are. Now, a lot of people may not know it because we can bullshit our way through anything, but times are coming. I can tell you one of the things that's going to come out of this is telepathy is on the rise.
Yeah.
It looks like empathy to get started. That's where telepathy starts. And then it will just jump. And you'll start to notice you're picking up on things that's more than just empathy. At first, it'll feel like you're empathizing with them and you can feel their pain. Well, also keep in mind that you're going to feel pain, and it's going to be someone that you're going to like, why do I feel so uncomfortable right now? And you're picking up on what people are going to be going through during this.
Yeah. Definitely.
So keep that in mind. How do you ground it? How do you ground that empathetic ghost pain and discomfort? Because if you're doing it, that's part of your mission here.
Yeah. Well, the other part too that I was thinking of, kind of the mirror side of the, being fangirl for somebody else, let's say, is being able to assist or carry messages or be that diplomat or that intermediary, if you will, without letting it go to your head. I mean, you've got to have that. You can't, it's only going to be those people that can operate on an equal footing with the people that you're helping and an equal footing with the people that you're receiving help from. So, yeah, we're all being together.
Yeah, you can work on it on your own and get there in your own manner, or you can deal with it when telepathy comes online for everyone, and then they're going to see through your BS.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell someone quit being cocky, quit being arrogant. They're just If they chose that path, then they're going to have to deal with the consequences along the way. And believe me, everything, no matter what it is, we're going through a period right now. Everything, personal, structural, societal, governmental, it doesn't matter, is coming into the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It may not be tomorrow, it may not be next week for everything, but everything eventually is coming to light.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. The next one is Dreams of Dragons. Their powers in the fantasy world are brought forth following their cleanse of fire.
Mm.
So think, well, try not to use the evil portrayal that they've had in movies, but think of fairies and elves and kind of the sparkly lands and whatnot. Dragons are the catalyst to bring that type of environment into place.
Mm-hmm.
They cleanse the land of the dark and set the foundation for the mystical powers and the dream world to come into the real world. Because the dream world really is more realistic than this one. This one is the game. We're in a game. We're in the Matrix game playing this out. Why do we do it? To learn, to experience things that the real world, the outside, it doesn't have it with all the elements that we need in order to learn the kind of thing. So what do? We put together a virtual world so that we could go do it. So virtual, real, it doesn't really matter to us because we have these abilities to clear our memories so that we can buy into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've done here. We bought into it by clearing our memories. And only a great being can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now we've kind of reached the apex or the perigee or whatever, to the furthest point away from what you're orbiting. And now we're moving back, but now we're whiplashing back towards our true powers.
Mm-hmm.
What we really are, not this, this isn't bad. I mean, many people might get depressed about all this. I don't. We came here to play this game. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, well, that's evil, and we've had to do this and that. Well, that's part of the game. The game rules. You define what evil is, and you define what bad is. You define what suffering is. You put all that in there, so you have a definition, so that then you can play a role according to what those rules are. Mm-hmm. So once we start coming out of that, we're going to look back at this and go, oh, wow, that was so cool the way you put that together. After we get over the part, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe we did this. Mm-hmm. Or I can't.
Well, plus then there's days that are mundane and completely nothing. It's like a perk of the job just to have these beautiful moments and these amazing, like, nothing experiences. Like, I'll just be like, it's just it's just a perfect feeling day right now. Like, this is amazing. And I love it so much, and it's nothing, but it's everything, it's makes me want to cry. Just the beautiful nothingness of it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, but little by little, that knowledge is going to start coming online more and more. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to study anything. Mm-hmm. It's by raising your frequency. It's kind of like we're on a spectrum. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we are, we've been down here. Okay. And this spectrum has all these things. Depending on what frequency you're at, there's certain things attached to it. As you start to rise up in frequency, how do you rise up in frequency? Well, you start realizing what's really what and what is false by using your own discernment, mm-hmm. and choosing not to stay blind which is becoming harder and harder to do with all the energy waves coming in. But as you start to move up that spectrum, you unlock little prizes or access to certain things. Much of it's going to be just knowledge. You're not going to have to go learn it. We're here to learn certain things, but other things are unlocked. The learning is to go through the process. It's not the end thing that we're looking for. It's the going through the process of gathering that learning. Other things, it's more important that you know it, not learn. And so we've been doing the learning. Now we're coming into a time of knowing.
And translating, being able to understand.
And understanding why we did what we did, why we came here, why we put ourselves in the bodies we put ourselves in, why things rolled out the way they did to you, why you responded the way you did to them, why you looped on some things but got other things pretty quickly. All that will come through these knowings. And there's no one to point the finger at to say, make it go faster. It's you. It's you not wanting it too much. You almost have to just relax into it and say, I need to treasure every single rise in my frequency. Treasure it. It's almost like when the next rise comes up and go, wait a minute, I'm not done yet. I need to, need to have that mentality. Because then it's law of attraction. It's coming to you because you're appreciating everything you're getting. And that's where we're coming into a time of appreciation and gratitude.
Yes. Yeah.
No one did this to you. No one. No one made you suffer. No one tortured you. Even if you've gone through the worst thing in an incarnation, no one did it to you.
Right.
You actually, if you want to put it in proper perspective, you signed on to play a role and you asked them to do it to you.
And then you wiped your memory of that.
Most of the beings here that played these evil roles, you've played those roles yourself for other people. And why did you do it? Because they asked you to. Because they needed someone to play that antagonist against their protagonist. They needed that. So we all agreed to each play all these roles against each other. It's only evil because we needed that that setup. Once we start getting these knowings and climbing out of it, the good thing is we're going to free ourselves of what evil is. Because when it gets down to it, it's all light and dark and energy flow. That's all the universe really is. But we're as far away, we have been as far away from source as we possibly can get as a sentient being and have a society. And now we've been moving away slowly to this far point, and now we're not going to just go back slowly. We're going to whiplash, and it's going to be. We're not going to have to wait centuries.
Which we've talked about this before. We've already kind of turned that curve, and that's why you're seeing all this stuff looks like it's falling apart, is because it's coming back. And it's coming back faster.
I'll say this to not to say you're wrong. You're not. I feel what you're saying. When you start to see things on the news that are shocking, not just this little dribble drabble whatever. I'm talking about things like, oh, okay, that one shocked me, and then another thing shocked me. By the time you get to the third or fourth thing, you should say, okay, it's this is the whiplash. We are now starting the whiplash now. And the whiplash, it's the hardest part is when it whips you, that first, and then once you get your bearings, we have the great ability of adapting to our times and things.
Oh yeah.
We will adapt quickly, especially as you rise in frequency, more and more knowings come online. It will help us along. It's actually been embedded into the program for us to deal with all this. So, but to each his own. I mean, some people are on missions here to have it the hardest that they can possibly get. I want everything stacked against me. Are you sure you want that? Yes, I want everything stacked against me. I want this to be the hardest. And no matter how much you try to help them, you're not going to be able to help them.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go through it the hardest it can be.
And they won't tell you that. I mean, they won't say, "I want to do the hardest," but they'll argue with you and not accept your advice. And you can look at them and go like, "Why are you making this so difficult?" Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
overachievers, those overachieving souls, trying to learn those lessons.
Just a different twist on it.
Yeah. I already did my version of it.
Yeah, me too.
When I went in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, saving the best for last. The tooth of the dragon represents prosperity beyond wealth, given to the council that best represents the people.
Yeah.
These people that are gonna make up the council, and they're going to be multiple councils, but they're all going to roll up to let's say a high council. These people are going to be beyond reproach. When you're around them, when they're going to speak to the people, either individually as a group, when they do, they're going to fill stadiums. And when you're in that stadium, you're going to have chills upon chills upon chills. You're going to know you're in the presence of a being that couldn't love you another ounce more, that wants the best for you, but the best is not what you think it is right now, given our forced ignorance.
Yeah.
But they're going to know. They're going to be so in touch. In fact, they're going to be so in line with their higher self that they're going to know you better than you do. Because they're communicating with your higher self better than you are.
Yeah.
They're going to know the true you. You won't be able to go to them and pose something and them not see through it. They'll know it. They have the highest discernment you can be and still be in physical form.
Yeah.
In this 3D, 4D, 5D, whatever.
And they won't be elected.
Yeah, they will not be elected. If you want to call it elected, they rise because of their frequency.
Yes.
No one would want to run against them in an election because they exude it. Have you ever been around someone that no matter what they did, you couldn't help but just feel light on your feet? They just had this bubbly persona that just made you feel good whenever you're around them. It's that times 1,000. Yeah. You're not going to be able to be on a council, especially with telepathy coming online and all the, let's just say, the bullshit detectors pegged at the upper level. You won't be able to be on a council, and people say you shouldn't be there. You don't deserve that, or you're not doing the best for people. If you're on a council, it's already understood. The council will police itself and each other, and the people, they will be so in touch with the people that it will have never. Well, we will not be able to remember ever being in that situation, but we have been. We just can't remember it. But it's going to be magical. It is going to be magical. It's going to be of the fairyland kind of feeling. And you're just going to know that what government should have been doing here. Now, we set it up this way, so I'm not poo-pooing governments. They did what they were supposed to do. But if we look back at it and say, here, government should have been this and this and this and this, that's what these councils are going to be.
When I get the clear feeling that it's, when you said ground up, I think you said earlier, I get the feeling that it's that you're going to have the local stuff and it's going to raise up and you have different councils.
Yes.
There's going to be so much transparency and trust. It's not like we're going to have to be scrutinizing every single layer. We're going to be really, playing in the layer wherever we are,
Right.
and trusting both up and down that, things are occurring as they should.
If at any time, the feeling I got, if at any time, when this comes into play, if any time you as an individual have a question or a doubt about something, you will be able to go right to the relevant person and ask your question and get your doubts relieved.
Yeah.
I feel like there won't even be an issue because those high-level beings won't even think about trying to ever be anything but what they are. Yep. And there's never going to be a question because they just are what they are. And so are we all who are trusting them at that point,
And if we're all aligned like that, we'll be able to sense anything that's not in alignment.
Well, just think about it. Right up till now, we've been in alignment with our government. So we have this sense of some of doom and you got to take care of yourself and all this other stuff because the government doesn't do it and all that. Well, there are certain things that have caused that, and it's permeated our society. Well, think of the exact opposite of that. Yeah. That's what's going to permeate our society. It's going to be, you are going to feel love and understanding no matter who you're talking with and where you go. It's just going to permeate everything around you.
Thank goodness. Yeah. And we had a voyage to get there, so we've got a shot around the sun, so to speak.
What this list was is a story. It's a symbolic story of what I believe is getting ready to unfold. And we have to get there. But what I'm saying is, you can't have the light without the dark. You can't have the dark without the light. We've got to go through this whiplash. And that whiplash, I don't care how far along you are on your enlightenment, you are going to feel this. You are going to, it's going to make you scrutinize what you thought you had gotten over or what you had worked through or what you thought was coming. But at the end of the day, there is light. There is light coming. The dragons are coming in to clear the path. This is dragon energy, and that's what it does. It is cleansing, detoxing. It shakes the foundation because it's got to rattle everything to make sure, that everything breaks loose and whatnot. But while this is going on, there are other beings that are working, let's say, concurrently to set up. We're not working in serial fashion. This is going to be in parallel. So you may not be able to, you won't see it in the news or anything like that, but know that it is going on so that when the cleanse is, let's say it's gotten through the worst of it, the light will begin to shine right behind it.
Yeah, and I just get a sense think of the celebration and how much joyfulness it's going to feel when we get to that last bullet point after going through.
We're going to be celebrating for centuries.
Going through the other, it's going to be this. Yeah.
Because amazing. Think about it. We've been going through this for thousands of years. So, what's a century or two of celebration? Of course, it's during that time that we're just going to let loose with our creativity and wonder and
One big long party.
Yeah, it's like you've been gone on assignment, for a year, over in another land, and now
deployed.
Yeah, deployed, and now you come home and you're not going to be deployed anymore. You're basically, you're going to celebrate.
And the mission is accomplished.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that will be coming online, the actual sense of mission accomplished. I actually wrote down at another time, you punched your ticket.
Oh, yeah.
So the sense of you punched your ticket, you did what you needed to do, mission accomplished. Now you're on free time. And free time is not like here. Free time is, you get to go play in the universe.
Yeah.
And you get to go make up your own matrix and go live that and go play in any kind of scenario you want and ask those, of your friends and family and whoever to come join you.
Sometimes I feel like I'm doing that now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to each his own, how they describe it, how they live it, how they feel it. It's more a matter of feeling than it is a touching, a physical thing. So it's not going to be in what you do. It's going to be in how it makes you feel. So even the smallest things can make you feel a certain way, then that has value. It's not in, oh, well, I want to go fly through the rings of Saturn and everything. That's, I mean, I'm not going to say don't do it, or if it has a valuable feeling to you, then great, go do that. But what we're doing is the dragons are coming in to crack open that vault and let out all these options that have been hidden away from us that we closed our mind to in coming here. And now it's time. It's the dragons were always planned to come here. It was, think of it as the free for all, the call to say, all come free now. It's
Ollie, oxen free.
Yeah, it's basically the whistle of whistles. It says time for the game to begin its exodus. This is the exodus. So cool. And each of us still have our lessons to learn, still have our things that are going to come online, just the knowings and combination of those. We get to know more in order to bump us up ready to go learn another lesson. And then we get to know some more. And then we keep doing. This helps raise our frequency even more, provided we stay on our path. Well, what's your path? Whatever your higher self is constantly putting in your way. It constantly puts things in your way to get your attention to say, no, I want you over here. And you say, well, why should you listen? You're right. Well, it's you. It's you that didn't forget. Yeah. But it doesn't want to spoil your game down here, so it just clues you in.
Yeah.
So,
this is very pertinent. Find your place to stand still and rejuvenate and center and
expect them to hear more from the dragons, because we're like I said, we're entering a time of dragons. We're going to see more dragon symbology. It's not about the physical dragon; it's about the dragon energy.
Right.
So some people's missions will come online right away. Some people are already doing it. Some people's missions may not come in until the bulk of the cleanse is either underway or done. You'll only, no one will be able to tell you. Only you will know and you will feel a pull.
Yeah.
You won't need to make yourself do it. It'll be,
Right.
you want to talk about motivated. You'll be motivated. You'll enthusiasm. It will pull you, and you won't be able to ignore it.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, babe.
Yep. Well, that turned out better than I thought.
That was fun.
Because when I started, man, I was like, whoa, gosh.
It felt huge, too.
I felt like I just went through that. The whole thing, actually lived it.
Yeah.
I think I did. I actually think if time doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good, though. I mean, it was really just a good topic of discussion to bring forth all that information. I thought, like, the topics brought forth very good conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Necessary stuff.
Yeah, I'm expecting, and this and $5 will get you a cup of coffee, but I'm expecting that it's going to be these types of things that the light workers start focusing their attention on.
Mm-hmm.
Is here's what's going on, and it seems heavy and it seems dense and all this, and yes, we've got to work through this, but here's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you the dark, and then I'll give you the light, so that I'm not just focusing on, oh, it'll be good, it's all good, and whatever.
Rainbows and unicorns.
If someone tells you it's all good, you should run away, or you should definitely start scrutinizing it.
Yeah.
It should be in balance.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll feel off balance when things are kind of like maybe that given week is going to be more dark oriented.
Mm-hmm.
But know that it will swing back around along the pendulum, and the next following week may be, more light oriented. In the end, it's all swinging around the same, underneath the same pendulum.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I feel much better now. Thank you. Thank you for letting me do this. All of you are my therapists.
Bringing it forward.
Who do I send the check to?
The universe.
Okay, I will pay it forward. So.
All right. Well, we complete with this one,
Yeah, I think so. I couldn't really do any more justice to that.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny.